What's going on, family? Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Meldrick Taylor got himself into trouble a couple of days ago. Apparently there was an issue with a tenant at 2700 Lehigh Avenue. This happened at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, where he was obtained by SWAT in Philadelphia. But it started at 11 p.m. It was a 26-year-old tenant that was late on his rent, and apparently there was an agreement between the 26-year-old young man and Meldrick Taylor, who it looks like might have been the landlord, I assume. And apparently the tenant states that he was given an additional 30 days, where Meldrick was in the apartment waiting for him when he came in with his buddy. And he said you had to leave the apartment now. And the tenant said he's not going to leave because we had an agreement. And it was alleged that Taylor would have some form of weapon of some kind. And the police were apparently called, and Taylor wouldn't let them in, so they called SWAT. And after several hours, they would obtain Meldrick Taylor, bring him to a precinct, and he was charged on several counts. Now, I did a Michael Nunn video. Michael Nunn was released from prison. And like Michael Nunn, I don't want to get into Meldrick Taylor's personal life. I want to get into his boxing career. Because Meldrick Taylor was in my opinion, the best gold medalist in the 1984 Olympic Games. I followed Meldrick Taylor's career for many years. From the 1982 Olympic Fest, all the way up to the 1984 Olympic gold medal days in Los Angeles. So Meldrick Taylor was born October 19th, 1966 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And he came from a small town they call Nicetown. And he got caught up with a little gang there, and did little devious things that most young kids do. But he stood 5'7.5" and had a 66-inch reach. It was managed by Lou Duva, Georgie Benton. He was trained by Benton. And his amateur trainer was Willie Ruddish. Now, Willie Ruddish was a very good Philadelphia fighter. And he wanted to become a trainer. He was a very, very good trainer. He trained Meldrick Taylor in the amateur days. As a matter of fact, when Meldrick Taylor tried to make a comeback after his first Julio Cesar Chavez loss, he went back to Willie Ruddish for the Julio Cesar Chavez rematch. And he was knocked out. It was an outstanding fight, but Meldrick Taylor was done at that point in time in his career. But Meldrick Taylor would wind up having a total bout career of 47 fights, 38 wins, 20 knockouts, 8 losses, with 1 draw. He was an Olympian and would win the gold medal in the 1984 Los Angeles Games. He would win in the featherweight division. And we're going to go through some of his amateur experiences. But I remember the Night of Gold. And that took place in Madison Square Garden. And that was an awesome moment for me because I knew a lot of people that was there. You had Mark Breland, Tyrell Biggs, Evander Holyfield, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, and Meldrick T&T Taylor. But you also had former Olympians, such as Howard Davis, Sugar Ray Leonard, Spinks Brothers. You had Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, George Foreman, many others that were there. The Chavalos and Floyd Patterson, they were all there. And it was a very, very special moment. Meldrick Taylor won 4 rounds in stunning fashion. Beautiful combinations that were thrown. Pernell Whitaker scored a knockout, devastating knockout. Mark Breland went the distance. I'm not sure Holyfield might have gone the distance. It was a long time ago, but that was a special moment for me. From New York and getting to witness all these great fighters. But Meldrick Taylor was a very special fighter. And let's take a look at some of his earlier moments. Now here you have Meldrick Taylor in Philadelphia. And this is for the USA ABF Junior Championships. Taylor shoots up to 139, shoots down opponents. Now ever since he defeated Robert Shannon for the 119-pound crown in the U.S. Amateur Championships last year, Philadelphia Meldrick Taylor has been moving through the lighter weight classes like the flaming comet from the outer galaxy. Now what they're saying is Meldrick Taylor always moved up and down in weight. He was usually 119 pounds, and he would go up to 122, 139, go back down again, wherever he can find room. See, in those tournaments, you had to fit into a slot because everybody had to have their own division. And wherever there was room, Meldrick Taylor would fit in. Now he's up to 139, and that's the weight at which he won the U.S. Junior Championships in Colorado Springs. I remember seeing that there personally. Recently, his final victims was Ernesto Nava of Maria Loma, California. And Nava was stopped inside the first in his semi-Gregory Guava of Phoenix and was added to Taylor's win column. Now, he had an older brother by the name of Myron Taylor. He was an outstanding boxer of 132 through 156 weight division. Now, he had a twin brother by the name of Meldrick Taylor. All them guys were fighting at that time. And I just wanted to show you this. Meldrick Taylor was in boxing for many years. Started at the age of 8. And this is him here. Beautiful right hook that he lands to knock this man out. This was right there on Broad Street. This is in Philadelphia. He used to have a lot of those tournaments outside. I'm just going through this book here, my scrapbook. Here you have the amateur scene. The Louisiana team dominates the National Golden Gloves. Now you can see here Meldrick Taylor right in the middle there. Let's see if I can get some names here. In the 1982 National Golden Glove champions, the front left to right, Jose Rosario, 106, Jesse Bonavides. I think you know who he is. 112. Meldrick Taylor was 119 pounds. Shelton LeBlanc, 125 pounds. Robert Byrd, I assume you might know who he is. 132. He's in the rear. That's him back there. Straight back. You see Meldrick Taylor here in the middle. Benavides, Texas. I don't know if you're familiar with Sandalye Williams. He was 156 pounds. So you had a good team. And Meldrick was a part of that. Now, let's look at the amateur boxing national ratings. Let's go to Meldrick Taylor for a minute. I want to get back to some other names you may be familiar with. Now here's what I'm talking about. Let's take a look. Right, in the bantamweight. Now that's where Meldrick Taylor normally fought. But number 1 was Floyd Favors. He was one of the best in the bantamweight division for many years. He was from Maryland. I remember him very well. Number 2, you had Jesse Benavides, Corpus Christi, Texas. Robert Shannon, Linwood, Washington. A lot of those names I just showed you, I was on that team. But if you drop down to the flyweight division, you're going to find Steve McCory. Now, Steve McCory is from Detroit. He was part of the Kronk stable. He was the younger brother of Milt McCory. Milt McCory was a middleweight. Actually, he was a welterweight, moved up to middleweight. And he was always in, trying to get that position over Thomas the Hitman Hearns. I'm speaking of Milt McCory, which is Steve McCory's older brother. But Meldrick Taylor was something else, man. And he would move all over the place. Bernard Gray, another good fighter. He was from Boynton Beach, Florida. That's over there by Hollywood. And he was a featherweight at that time. He was ranked number 1. And these were the rankings at that time. Now here you have in the lightweight division, you have Pernell Sweepy Whitaker, who was ranked number 1 from Norfolk, Virginia. Robert Byrd, that was also on that team. I showed you the national team. He was ranked number 3 from Dallas, Texas. Harold Knight, ranked number 8 from Plainsville, New Jersey. He would eventually face Rocky Lockridge. 15-round affair. That was actually the last 15-round fight in the featherweight division. Now in the lightweight division, you have Jerry Page, very good fighter from Ohio. Vincent Webb, another good fighter. But number 5, you have Meldrick TNT Taylor, Philadelphia. Now he moved up to try and get a position to 139 pounds, excuse me. And Meldrick Taylor wound up going to the Los Angeles Games, and he would win a gold medal in the featherweight division. While we're here, super heavyweight, you had Tyrell Biggs, Philadelphia, who was ranked number 1. Mike Tyson was ranked number 2, Catskill, New York, in the super heavyweight division. And Mike Tyson was going up and down from heavyweight to super heavyweight, once again, trying to find a slot. Number 3, you had Greg Payne, very good fighter. Cormiel Odom, ranked number 5 from Gary, Indiana. I want you to remember that name, Cormiel Odom, because I want to bring his name up again. As a heavyweight, you had Henry Tillman, it was Los Angeles. And one of the reasons why Mike Tyson had moved up to the super heavyweight division, because his camp was afraid of Henry Tillman. Not as far as him getting hurt or anything, but because they thought, because Henry Tillman was from Los Angeles, he was going to get a free ride in the Olympic Games. So they didn't want to take a chance in that heavyweight division. Henry Milligan, another good fighter. I remember every last one of these guys. Light heavyweight, you had Evander Holyfield, who was ranked number 1 at Atlanta. Ricky Walmat, ranked number 2. Now, many years, Ricky Walmat was ranked number 1. From Detroit, Kronk, he was part of Emmanuel Stewart's stable. And I'm just shooting around a little bit here. All right, so let's get back to Meldrick Taylor. Now, this is the team, the 1984 Olympic team. They would all win gold medals outside of Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield would win a silver medal. You had Meldrick Taylor in the front. This was the Knight of Gold. Pernell Sweepy Whitaker. He's to your right. And he would win. He would become the unified lightweight champion. He would also win the welterweight championship. You had Tyrell Biggs, never won a professional title. Evander Holyfield would wind up becoming the unified cruiserweight champion, first one. And Mark Breland would become champion in 2 different occasions. But that was the Knight of Gold. Those are the shirts. I actually have one myself. Here you have Evander Holyfield, Atlanta, Georgia. He would win a WBA Junior Heavyweight Championship. Meldrick TNT Taylor. Fascinating fighter he was. Lightweight contender. Tyrell Biggs was a contender for the heavyweight division. Once again, Knight of Gold. Tyrell Biggs, he won a gold medal. Mark Breland would win a gold medal. Holyfield would win a silver medal because they said he hit on the break and it was disqualified. And here you have 2 buddies. They wound up becoming friends. Meldrick TNT Taylor, as well as Pernell Sweepy Whitaker. Now Whitaker would win. He would be the most successful. I would say him and Holyfield of that team. Meldrick Taylor would eventually face Julio Cesar Chavez. He'd be knocked out in the 12th round, March 17th, 1990, 140 pounds. We're going to get to how that happened. Once again, Pernell Whitaker to your left, Vander Holyfield, Tyrell Biggs, Mark Breland, Meldrick TNT Taylor. One of the most closest members that ever bond in the Olympics. These five. Now, James Buddy McGirt would defeat our stablemate of the main events camp, Frankie Warren, for the junior welterweight IBF strap. Remember that fight like yesterday. He was from Brentwood, Long Island. And here you have Hector Rooker to your left. He's to McGirt's right, but he's to our left. To our right, you had Al Cerdo. I knew all these men very, very well. In the back there between McGirt and Hector Rooker, you had the 5-time, or I should say 3-time welterweight, 2-time middleweight champion, Emil Griffith. So you had Meldrick Taylor and James Buddy McGirt. Here you have Bobby Goodman. Now he was the matchmaker for Madison Square Garden. And James Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt started out in the kid gloves. And he might have been around 8 years old. And he dominated the kid gloves for many years. But he never tried out for the Olympic team. And here you have Buddy McGirt and Meldrick Taylor. Buddy McGirt came into that fight with an inflamed bicep, right bicep. And he said later that he just wasn't himself, didn't make any excuses. He was very lethargic, ran out of gas. And he was no longer the IBF junior welterweight champion. I was at that fight. I was at ringside. It was in Atlantic City. And it was at the Harris Marine Hotel. Bobby Goodman was the matchmaker, although he was a matchmaker for Madison Square Garden, but he was the promoter in Atlantic City for that event. Fascinating. This brings back so many memories for me. And here you have Buddy McGirt and Meldrick Taylor. McGirt started out fast. Meldrick Taylor tried to open up on him in the first round. The problem with Meldrick Taylor, he was really a featherweight because he was always fighting at bantamweight. And he moved up to 139 pounds so he can fit into a slot of the national games because you had to win a national title in order to try out for the Olympic team. And I showed you Floyd Favors had dominated the bantamweight division, along with Taylor, but Taylor couldn't take any chances. So he tried out for the 139-pound division. And he wound up fighting at featherweight. But Taylor dominated this fight, and he would become the junior welterweight champion at a IBF strap. And like I said, Buddy McGirt would win that title from Frankie Warren, Chiquita Warren, from Corpus Christi, Texas. Frankie Warren had a brother by the name of Harold Warren, who years later would be ranked number 7, and he would fight the Flush and Fash Kevin Kelly. Boy, those memories, something else. Meldrick Taylor was replaced on the cover of Ring magazine for his accomplishments. And he would win, be a proud owner. As you can see here, if we can tune in, January 1989. He would have the IBF Junior Welterweight strap. What a long journey Meldrick Taylor would have. But he would have to face Julio Cesar Chavez. And that fight would take place March 17th, 1990. This was right after the stunning upset of Iron Mike Tyson and James Buster Douglas. I was at the fight with Mike Tyson when he fought Michael Spinks, knocked him out in 90 seconds. And I was at this fight as well. Meldrick Taylor and Julio Cesar Chavez. I was at the fight with Meldrick Taylor, James Buddy McGirt. Meldrick Taylor, Julio Cesar Chavez. That was some fight. Now this moment here, 25 seconds left in the 12th round. Meldrick Taylor was winning the fight, but Chavez was getting a lot of inside punches in. A lot of people didn't realize it, and Meldrick Taylor was getting busted up pretty good. You see, Meldrick Taylor couldn't punch past 126 pounds. He just couldn't. Not with pure leverage, because he punched too fast. He has the quickest hands and the quickest feet in the divisions. But just didn't have the punching power. But the problem was Meldrick Taylor had to move up to 140 because Pernell Whitaker was fighting at 135. And as you can see here, Meldrick Taylor got dropped with 9 seconds left on the clock. Now, Richard Steele was the referee that night, and he would escort Chavez to a neutral corner. Chavez would start wandering out of that corner as Richard Steele attends to Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor didn't respond. He was looking at the corner. Lou Duva came on the apron. Now, Meldrick Taylor could have got disqualified then, because a chief second or any member of that corner cannot touch the canvas until the fight is over or in between rounds. But it was irrelevant at that point. Meldrick Taylor was up at the count of 6, and he was staggering on the ropes. There was 2 seconds left. This reminds me of Billy Conn and Joe Louis, 1941. Billy Conn was winning the fight, and he was knocked out. 12 seconds. I'm sorry, it was 2 minutes and 58 seconds left in that round, 12th round. And Billy Conn would be stopped by Joe Louis, as Meldrick Taylor was with Julio Cesar Chavez. I'll tell you, history repeats itself. And Meldrick was winning that fight. And from that point on, Meldrick Taylor has never been the same psychologically. And he would make a comeback. I remember he fought a fighter by the name of Primo Ramos. Fought him once before, but this was a rematch. And Primo Ramos was arrested because they were looking for him on television. And they saw him and they came and arrested him. The main event was Pernell Sweepy Whitaker and Juan Nazario. Whitaker was supposed to face Edwin Rosario, but Edwin Rosario was knocked out by Juan Rosario in Madison Square Garden. I was at that fight. And I was at the fight when Whitaker knocked out Juan Nazario in the first round. Also on that card, you had Tony Baltazar and Hector Macho Camacho. So that was a good card in Nevada. But this is a sad night for Meldrick TNT Taylor. Very sad night. Very controversial. You can see here Meldrick Taylor busted up pretty good. He was urinating blood after this. He was vomiting blood after this fight. He couldn't see out of his left eye for a couple of weeks. His foot was trembling, and a lot of things were going on with Meldrick, and Eventually he would get himself together. Or did he? And this put Julio Cesar Chavez on the map. And he would get a lot of opportunities after that fight. They would eventually fight again. And Chavez would knock out Meldrick Taylor. It might have been the 10th round. Can't quite remember. But that was some moment. Julio Cesar Chavez. Very good Mexican fighter. Julio Cesar Chavez. March 17th, 1990. James Buddy McGirt. Atlantic City. Two opponents. Now, Meldrick Taylor made his name most famous. Meldrick T&T Taylor, Philadelphia. Junior welterweight and welterweight champion. He would take that welterweight championship strap away from Aaron Superman Davis. Aaron Davis took the title away from this man here, a teammate of Meldrick Taylor, Mark Breland from Brooklyn, New York. Mark Breland was a 6-time Golden Glove champion. He would win the Olympic Fest, national tournaments. He was one of the best amateur champions at that time. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker dominated the amateur division. Won every belt you can think of. Every gold medal you can think of. Here he's the IBF lightweight champion. Took that title away from Greg Haugen. Took the WBC lightweight championship away from Jose Luis Ramirez. He was robbed in Paris the first time. I was at the second fight in Hampton, Virginia, when he dominated Ramirez. Frank Tate. Houston, Texas, originally from Detroit. He was part of the Kronk stable. He would win the IBF middleweight championship strap from Michael Elijah Day. Michael the Silk Elijah Day. And he would have his title taken away from him from Michael second to none. Davenport, Iowa. Thanks for visiting me in these memories. With Meldrick T&T Taylor. Salute to him. Hopefully things work out for him. He was always my favorite fighter in the 84 Olympic Games. Salute to Meldrick Taylor. Thanks for hanging in there with me. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Unbelievable. Great talent with Meldrick Taylor. Where does he go from here? We'll see. Today, Buddy McGirt is a trainer. Mark Breland trains Deontay Wilder. He has a champ, Pernell Whitaker. And Frank Tate. Whitaker was the best defensive fighter. Salute.